Alright, so here we are to play another rapid game. So let me find 1510, play, and let's see what we get. The last two we've been playing black. Finally, we get the white pieces. We're playing a 2120, and I'm going to start with knight f3. From here, guys, we could go into a King's Indian attack, like we learned on lesson 79, 80, and or we could go into a Colle, which we learned on lesson 104, but recently we reinforced it and so on. So let me actually go with d4. Let me play d4, e3, and try to get into that Colle setup. Now, recently we learned what to do against this, so we're gonna try to, since they developed the queenside bishop, we're gonna try to put pressure on b7 with it. Now, some of you had mentioned, oh, but some people play c6 to play queen b6. Well, let's see how we deal with that. So c4, queen b3 at some point, and let's see if that yield anything. I also mentioned that you could play h3, g4, knight e5, but let's see. Okay, e6. Okay, let me play c4. And notice that I'm not playing b3 like we learned in our main lesson on the Colle, because again, I want to play queen b3. Now, let me first play knight b to d2, that way I don't have to worry about this recapture and messing up my pawn structure. Now let me go queen b3. And if queen b6, I'm just going to play c5, right? So they take me, I take with the a pawn, open up the a file, I gain more space on the queen side. So I like this position. This bishop, I know that a lot of you are like, okay, I don't like that bishop being blocked, it cannot get out easily. Well, sooner or later, we're going to find a way to bring it out. Okay, so how about c5? Yeah, why not? So you see, right here, I was thinking, well, is it easy for me to bring the rook to the same file as the queen? If not, well, let me just play c5. They cannot take on h2. It comes in with a tempo, and now knight e5. This is a move that we know is thematic. The knight belongs on e5 on many of these systems, and in this case, it comes with a tempo on the bishop. I don't think they're going to give me the pair of bishops, and probably bishop h5 is coming. There you go. So now white pieces to move. How do we continue? I like the idea of what we learned in the Colle, which is f4, maybe a rook lift. I don't know. That's something that is in the air. Or we could just expand on the queen side. If we go back to our basic strategy or positional lessons, we know that we should be paying attention to our pawn structure. If it's aiming at the queen side, we should be expanding there. So let me see what's the best way. Maybe queen c3 before b5 or queen c2. And guys, like always, pretend this is your game. What would you play if you were the white pieces? What's your plan? What's your plan? Okay, I'm gonna go queen c2 and I'm gonna prepare b4 and so on. Now, I know that it looks like we wasted a move going back and forth with the queen, but my opponent moved the bishop back and forth. This bishop also came to g4, came to h5. So now I'm assuming they're gonna play knight b to d7, and then there you go. And now we gotta make a decision. Well, right here they gotta move the queen again if you think about it. If they take with the knight, we collect on h7. And that's one of the main difference between queen b, queen c2, and queen c3. Now, do I want that or do I want knight f3? Well, let me take. And I didn't play knight f3 because I'm thinking, what if they take, I gotta take back, and then they could play some e5. So I want to keep him from doing anything on the king side. Okay, let me go with b4. If I see that at some point they try to prepare, maybe f4 is the right way to go. Okay, a4, trying to play b5, And again, guys, just being consistent. I don't have a lot of experience in this kind of positions, but just following those simple principles that are going to guide us through the middle game. All right, so bishop g6, I guess it makes sense. Are we ready to play b4? No, you know what? I think I'm gonna go knight f3, knight e5. Now that this bishop, what changed? Well, the bishop is not guarding f3 anymore. So knight f3, knight e5 makes sense. Now, if knight f3, they might just play knight e4 or bishop takes, queen takes, knight e4. Right? I could play knight e5, queen moves, f3, and they have to move the knight back. Now, if knight f3, knight e4, knight e5, I always have this f3. So I'm gonna go with it. We cannot just be focused on the queen side, right? So that's what we need to be working on, but we gotta pay attention to our opponent's plans. We gotta pay attention to the entire board. So let's see how that goes. All right, we take. Now my knight is going to e5 no matter what. Knight e4, again, I don't mind it because knight e5 followed by f3. They don't have time to do it to me first. Now I wouldn't be surprised if they do something like knight e8. But still, this bishop sooner or later is going to come out, and rook b1, b5, we should be able to get something really nice. Okay, queen c7, I like that. This is Karpov style, just removing the queen before it gets attacked, right? So that way my move doesn't come in with a tempo. Now, main question here is bishop d2, bishop b2, bishop a3. You know what? I'm going to go knight e5. Knight e5, I mean, the knight belongs there. But on top of that, the moment they go here, I could play f3. Otherwise, let's say I do something like this, knight e4, knight e5, they could do it to me instead. Or I could just go knight e1, and then f3, kicking the knight out. Anyways, this knight should come to the queen side, because we're going to be attacking here. Okay, so two main candidate moves, bishop d2 or knight e5. All right, let me go with bishop d2. Knight e5 was interesting. And then if knight e8, even f4, rook f3. But again, let me stay focused on the queen side. One of the coolest things about this is that I don't see an easy way for my opponent to create anything on the king side. And typically when we have these kind of games, our opponent is putting pressure on the other side to stop us from creating anything quickly on the side that we have more space. If you remember lessons like 85 with the King's Indian defense, that's the way it goes. So the fact that our opponent doesn't have a clear plan to attack us on the king side or to open up the center makes it so much easier for us. That's another plan now that I said that. 97, trying to play 5. So I need to be careful. Now, next for me is rook b1, b5. And let's see if we can create a weakness that we can put pressure on the queen side. All right, 94, we anticipated that. Now, should I go 91 first or rook b1 first? Okay, let me go rook b1 first. Okay, bishop f6. Now, are they preparing e5? Should I go 91, trying to play f3? Or should I just play b5? Everything is defended at the end of the day. So b5, e5. Or, interesting, bishop c3. So I'm thinking, what's my opponent's idea? What's my opponent's plan? To play 5? Well, bishop c3 prevents them from doing that. Rook e8, b5, e5. Pawn takes opens the file. Or b5, let them play 5, pawn takes, pawn takes. Bishop c3. And of course, the knight could take, but we take it back with the queen. We continue to reinforce that move. I mean, that square on e5. All right, guys, I don't think we can go wrong with this. b5, e5, take, and I could play rook b6 right away. Let them take on d4. Or I could do b5, e5, pawn takes, and they gotta take with the pawn because the queen is defending this square. And then after pawn takes, I could again take, they take, rook b6 right away, or take the bishop first, queen leaves, and then rook b6 with fork on these 2 pawns. So I'm gonna play b5. We've been waiting for it. Of course, I could take here first and trade one of the rooks, but still my rook is gonna have the open file to penetrate. We're gonna review this game after anyways, but I really like my position at this point. All right, so take, I'm gonna take back. Now, interesting, we take with the queen, right? And if they take back, I'm gonna get that pawn back anyways. Or I could just take with the knight, e5, b6, rook a7, or pawn takes. Right, let me take. I don't think they're gonna take on b. Ooh, they took on b5. Now, guys, we know, all of us know, this is going to be an isolated pawn, weak pawn. Yeah, they want to play 5, fine, but this is already falling. So rook a7, pawn takes. I mean, I don't need to risk it. And by the way, once that pawn falls, we're gonna get ourselves a passed pawn. So should we just go rook a7, or knight b3, or knight f3, or simply take? So if I take, bishop takes, what do we want to do? Knight f3 or knight b3? This is my main question. I like knight f3 because this is a piece defending our king side, while we do what we have to do on the queen side. But do they really have enough pieces to attack me on that king side? Knight b3, I can see myself going for the pawn. Then I could go to a5 after. So yeah, it only makes sense. It only makes sense. Now probably pawn takes, rook e8. No, rook e8 is not even possible. Trying to get to the back rank. And that's another thing, guys. If I have some time, I might do a prophylactic move to open up my king, right? So maybe h3 or g3. All right, so they took, of course, I don't want to take with the knight. I want to take with my pawn. Knight is defending it. These pawns are defended. And they are the only ones with 2 weak pawns. Isolated pawns should be easy to target either now or in the end game. So g6, I'm guessing opening up for the king. And I think we just gotta play these guys. There's no way around it. Maybe we're missing something, but rook a7, knight e5. Well, knight a5 cannot come in right now, but we certainly can prepare it. There's also c6. But no, I don't think we're safe to do that yet. Now, no rush. This is very important. We have the upper hand. We don't need to rush. If they do something like rook b8, you're going to see that all of these pieces are passive, slave to defending that pawn. This bishop is not doing much. So we might play g3 and maybe improve our pieces just a little bit. Then we look into knight a5 and so on. Okay, so that was pretty much forced. And now I'm thinking even moves like queen b6. Queen takes, pawn takes, followed by knight c5. So I'm thinking queen b6, pawn takes, queen takes, pawn takes, bishop d8, knight c5, they take. Now, no need to give him anything. So g3 is now a pretty interesting move. Let me look at c6. Pawn takes, rook takes, nope. I don't want to give him anything, guys. Now, knight a5, again, very attractive, but they have bishop d4. So let me play g3, right? Opening up a escape square. It is a light square, so the bishop will not control it. Queen is not controlling it right now compared to h3. So this should be fine. Now, let's try to continue to put pressure. There are 2 ideas here very interesting. Like, don't forget, if there's already a weakness that we're putting pressure on, we should be able to create a second one. We've talked about the principle of the second weakness. Now, there's this idea of h4, h5. We saw it on lesson, I want to say 102. And also queen e2, trying to play queen f3 and hit these 2 at the same time. Interesting that this queen cannot really come over to attack my pieces. So that might be a plan. Like if I go queen e2, it's not like they could activate the rook right away. Okay, so they're doing that with the queen. How about c6 right now? They got check. Yeah, I don't like that. C6 is very interesting. Oh, but they have this check. So maybe king f1. Queen e4. Now let me go queen d3, guys. And like I mentioned before, not only am I covering the king side, defending my king, but I could even go queen f3 at some point and create this fork. h4, h5, still in the air. Let's see. All right, check happened. Check happens. King g2. Okay, queen b4. Now, again, I'm not concerned. Everything is defended. But how do we make progress? This move is very interesting. This move is very interesting. They take... So knight a5 or queen f3. Or I could look into h4, h5. But queen f3, as a fork, bishop takes, queen takes, hitting the bishop, defending everything with the knight. So bishop and queen are, I mean, queen and knight and queen are attacking the bishop and also defending the pawn. That bishop needs to move, cannot stay on this diagonal, and when they move, I could play c6. Pawn takes, I take on f7, and that would be mate. Or at least close to it. If c6, what else could they do? There's no check, I'm controlling the light, this diagonal. My queen is very well centralized. They could advance. No, they cannot even advance. So I think we win that pawn after. Now, I just did a training, guys, where I was doing some checkmating 6 moves. And one of the main takeaways, and you probably have seen or gonna see that video, is that I needed to double check. Review everything, don't miss any silly details. So again, queen f3, powerful fork. If they just leave, we take on d5. If they take, this is free pawn. I mean, this is a pawn attacking the bishop. Bishop needs to leave, and then c6. Right, guys, let's do it. Let's see how that goes. All right, so far it's going as we calculated. Now not the main line, but the line that we really wanted to make sure was fine was bishop f6, then c6, rook d8. Well, I could always play queen d6. Yep. How about queen d6 right now? Okay, c6 was my initial idea. Rook d8. I guess we just go back. They take. I take and I'm hitting the rook. Okay, so either c6 or queen d6. Now queen d6, already not liking it. There's a pretty annoying check over here. Yeah, c6 has to be. All right, there you go. Okay, is that another move we didn't see? What, rook b8? I mean, rook b7, rook takes, pawn takes. I'm happy with that. Anything else? Okay, so I like that my queen is centralized, defending everything, and all of my pieces are on light squares, so this bishop cannot do much. And lastly, there's no check on my king. My queen is controlling that diagonal. I can see an easy plan to, at some point, do something like this and promote. Maybe knight c5, knight d7. This should be already over for the black pieces. Still, we cannot let our guard down. We have to stay put, calculate accurately until the end. We gotta convert this. Okay. Yep, they don't have any checks. From here, knight a6, and we promote. And again, what I like the most about this game is that it was all about pawns. The weak pawns my opponent had, and now the pass pawn that we got ourselves. Okay, so this has to be winning. Now, if queen d6, I initially thought, well, queen takes, bishop takes, and then b8. But if queen d6, we could have played b8, and then they had to give us everything. Bishop takes, queen d8, and so on. So right now, I could take, followed, no. So easy to make mistakes, guys. I was gonna take, trying to be fancy, but then if I take, they take on b7 with check, it's a fork, that would be a disaster. So I gotta play b8, I believe. Now, isn't there anything better? No interference, no nothing. All right. I have a student of mine that he always tells me, I got these guys, I'm winning by a queen, by a knight, by a rook, and they just don't resign. And he gets upset. So here we go, just simplifying everything. And of course, they resigned. So let me take a look quickly at the game analysis and let's see how many mistakes we made. I felt comfortable, but now you're going to see, okay, at least there are no blunders or two mistakes, inaccuracies. So let's take a quick look. So bishop d3, bishop g4, c4, queen knight d2, queen b3. Now, another idea is to play e4, so make a mental note, and especially if they play this e6, maybe queen b3 is not the best way to go. Maybe e4, threatening e5, just challenging that center. So queen b3, queen c7, c5. This move, I'm glad that it's marked as the best move because it dictated the remaining of the game strategically, guys. Like I said before, when we get to these kind of positions, we pay attention to our pawn structure and that's going to tell us what we should expand. And typically, we target the pawn in front of our most forward pawn. So b4, b5 is what you saw, and it actually worked out. So bishop e7, 95 inaccuracy. We should have played the move we did before, we should have done it now. Queen c2, and then before. But anyways, bishop h5, queen c2 right now, not only putting pressure on h7, but allowing b4, b5 to happen. So we traded. Again, happy to see that this is a good move. b4, a4, pretty straightforward when you're paying attention to your pawn structure. So knight f3, we wanted to go to e5, queen c7, bishop d2. Here, I was debating, should I go to either one of these three? b2 seems to be the better move. And we saw it after, guys. They're looking for this e5 break. This is the only thing they have. We should have anticipated that, being prophylactic. But anyways, bishop d2, knight e4, and we continue to attack. Bishop c3, I talked about it, but there we go. b5, this is a mistake. Bishop e1, bishop e1, bishop e1. Well, I'd say here is giving bishop c3 as the top move, actually. Bishop e1 or bishop c1. So bishop c3, we did mention it to prevent e5, but b5 was played, and that gives pawn takes, rook a1. So what is it that we missed here? Ooh, I didn't see this move. I did not even consider it. So you see, strategically great, but then we miss a simple tactic and everything goes away. So that's why tactics is the most important, guys. So didn't see knight c5. There you go. Knight d2, blunder because they missed this opportunity. Here, I should have taken with the queen. I mentioned it. And let me see. If they take on b5, I knew that I could get it easily back, and then these are just weak pawns. But still, the beginner in me said, take with the knight. And now you're not completely winning, but you have to be slightly better here. e5, of course, knight b3. Here, wrong choice. It made sense for me to go to b3, but knight f3 was the move. Yep, e takes d4, e takes d4, g6, rook a7, inaccuracy, and I was so happy with this move putting pressure right away. Rook b8. Now let me see, what's the point with g3? g3, no, it seems to be more accurate, that's it. Queen e7, queen d3, woo, this is nice. This is one of the moves that I'm more proud of. Not giving my opponent anything. Check, fine, queen b4, queen f3, yep. Oh, come on. Yeah, this was the move. This was winning, guys. Queen f4, winning by 583. Queen d5, winning by 374. So still winning, but you see, there are always tactics. We need to sharpen our tactics. So take, c6, take, and now this is just pretty straightforward. Knight d7, of course, knight d7. b8, let me see. Okay, go back to c5 is what they're saying. There's no rush. Well, I did have a rush, but now 5 points of advantage. This is just an easy win. So there you have it, guys. Many mistakes, but still, at least we had some guidance through the middle game thanks to the lessons, to the principles that we've learned in our YouTube channel. So with that said, I will see you in our next lesson.